Welcome to AIWF Worldwide, the official podcast of the Allied Independent Wrestling Federation. This is the program where you'll hear news, in-depth interviews, and analysis of the fastest-growing sanctioned body in wrestling today. All from the comfort of your smartphone or computer. Here is your host, the voice of AIWF Mid Atlantic, Scott Eiland.
Greetings and salutations, AIWF fans, and welcome to another edition of AIWF Worldwide. I'm Scott Eiland, the voice of the AIWF Mid Atlantic, and boy, if you missed Deal with the Steel on August 15th, you missed a treat, a wall-to-wall card, jam-packed. We had the first ever recorded hot dog on a pole match to open the show, and it was a tremendously successful event in just about every stretch of the imagination, with one glaring exception. Yes, in the main event, TR Superstar interfered in a match between the AIWF World Champion Damian Wayne and his number one contender, Ty Tyson. Somehow he gets into the cage, and I'm still trying to figure out why the officials didn't lock that door. Throws a fireball that hits Mistake right square in the eye. The paramedics were called. We had medical staff on site for this, but he sustained severe burns. Unconfirmed reports say that he had second to third degree burns over his eye. He can see, but his vision is blurred. And because of that, the match had to be stopped. Damian Wayne retains the World Championship by rule, but I can report, I do not have complete reports, but it looks like Ty Tyson is going to at least be okay. His vision is still intact. I was absolutely blown away by the actions of TR Superstar. I mean, I guess he must have been upset when his gambit to use an evil referee. That's right, Smiley. I caught him getting bribed in the months previous, and he swore it had nothing to do with any sort of chicanery on his part. But he tried to basically steal the Mid-Atlantic Championship away from Lodi. Thankfully, the senior official was on hand, Darren Saran, and he restored order, restarted the match, and Lodi retains the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Championship. And that brings us to who will eventually be our guest here. I'm going to put this in the most basic terms so that y'all can follow it. We had money in the piggy bank. Yes, Vince, is a shot at you match for I believe this is the fourth consecutive season that we did this, fourth consecutive deal with the money in the piggy bank match. This time, 4 of the region's best athletes, from Kevin Phoenix, from Timmy Lou Retton, James Anthony, the then Cruiserweight champion, AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight champion, Axton Ray, faced off with basically a papier-mâché pig hanging from the top of the Mount Airy National Guard Armory. The winner, whoever got the pig, gets an AIWF title shot at any time, at any arena, anywhere in the world that an AIWF championship is being contested. So Kevin Phoenix was able to eventually win after a thrilling match of about 15 to 20 minutes of just the most brutal action. James Anthony nearly won it several times. Axton Ray nearly won it several times. And the newcomer, Timmy Lou Retton, I'm telling you, that young rookie is going places. He has been basically wrestling just a year and a half, but everywhere that young man goes, he turns heads. And Timmy Lou nearly pulled off what would have been a galactic upset, but ultimately is won by the former AIWF Mid-Atlantic champion, Kevin Phoenix, and that's when Creative Control decided to step in. Chuck King and Rick Diesel came to ringside and decided to punish Axton Ray. For whatever reason, the Cruiserweight champion was forced to go back into the ring after getting brutalized, mostly by James Anthony, and ended up having to after the match, he had to put his Cruiserweight championship up in a ladder match with the same competitors. And James Anthony was able to take advantage, and for the second time, James Anthony, the smallest man in the building, was able to take home the AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion, and James Anthony joins me at this time on AIWF Worldwide. James Anthony, welcome and congratulations.
Thanks for having me on the show, and thank you. Yes, sir. It feels good to be a two-time AIWF Mid Atlantic Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion. And I'll be quite honest with you, it kind of bothers me, and it kind of hurts me knowing the way I won the championship on this past Saturday. So, no, who am I kidding? It was great to win it the way I won it. I mean, hey, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get back on top of that championship mountain. What do you think about that, Scott?
Well, I mean, obviously, well, you got to keep in mind. I mean, I was in my second year in the business when you joined the AIWF back in the old building, and when Johnny Reb was in charge. And it looks to me, I mean, and this is ringside observers saying it. This is me saying it. I've got to ask, do you have something cooking, or is there an agreement, an understanding between yourself and Creative Control? Because it seems like they pretty much stacked the deck to make sure that you walked out of the building with that championship.
Now, see, Scott, that's how rumors get started in wrestling, okay? I had nothing to do with what Creative Control did. If there's anybody to blame for what happened, you got to be why. A few months ago in Virginia, Axton beat me in the middle of the ring, 1-2-3. A few weeks later, in Johnson City, Tennessee, I got my revenge. I beat him one-on-one in the middle of the ring in front of his friends, in front of his family, in front of his girlfriend, and that automatically put me right in the top contendership for the championship. Part of my winning, I went straight to the back and I talked to the board and I said I wanted a championship match at the earliest possible date. The next possible earliest date, deal with the steel. The match was all set to go. I get to the building and I'm told that I'm going to be in the Money in the Piggy Bank ladder match. Now, I wasn't upset because, heck, if I would have won the Piggy Bank match, I could have cashed that pig in anytime I wanted to for any AIWF affiliated championship. But instead, things happened the way they happened. And, you have to look at the fact of you got to blame Axton because he walked in there complaining, saying that he didn't think he should have to defend his championship in a match against me. So he threw his name in the hat when he got there, and he put himself in the match. Now, all I can say is, hey, he must have said something or did something to Rick or Chuck to make them mad, and they decided to put the belt on the line, and lo and behold, I became a champion.
Well, congratulations. I mean, anytime that you take advantage of an opportunity that's handed to you by Creative Control, you need to take advantage of it. If you hadn't converted that, that would have been a problem of another sort. But congratulations. I mean, obviously, we know that you're going to be the defending champion. You were previously. I'm never going to say that James Anthony doesn't take on all comers, because you do. I'm kind of curious as to what happened, and I wanted to investigate this further. I will put on my investigative hat and try to figure it out. What about Creative Control, who they had a very large role in bringing Axton Ray into this promotion? What happened to turn them against him? I'm going to have Rick Diesel on this program at some point, and possibly even Chuck King as well. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this one way or the other. I don't know whether or not James Anthony was involved. The Creative Control folks certainly had it out for Axton Ray. Axton Ray forced to work an Iron Man stint, as was Timmy Lou Retton, as was Kevin Phoenix, who had just won the Money in the Piggy Bank match, and, of course, James Anthony able to as well. I have to say, to how much did conditioning factor into your victory, deal with the steel? Because it had to be a very difficult match for you as far as cardiovascular-wise.
Well, to be quite honest, all jokes aside, I will admit, in the middle of the Money in the Piggy Bank Cruiserweight Championship match, I did somehow, I don't know how I did it, I did kind of blow my knee out in the middle of the match. I had to take a short breather there. I had to actually pop my knee back, my left knee back into place. How I continue, I will never know. How I won the match, I'll never know. I'm just going to guess going off of adrenaline because I was in a lot of pain for the remainder of the match. And this happened very early on in the second half of the cage match. And like I said, I was in a lot of pain. I thought at one time I was going to have to leave the match, but, I just fought my way through. And, like I said, I did what I had to do to become the next. And my main goal in that match was I could have cared less if Timmy would have won. It wouldn't have bothered me if Kevin would have won. But if Ashton would have walked out of there still the AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion, I probably would have pulled my hair out because he has done nothing. Well, he did nothing his entire reign as a Cruiserweight Champion. I'm the first and only person that he's had come and challenge him. I'm the only person that was a threat to his title. And I believe, Scott, the only reason why you're upset is because over these past few years, I have defeated a lot of your favorites in the AIWF Cruiserweight division, and a lot of them are no longer a part of the AIWF Cruiserweight division, all because of me.
Oh, upset is a very relative term, don't you think, James? It's a situation where, obviously your feud with Court Montgomery is well publicized. Your feud with Phil Stamper was well publicized. It's a different era now. A little bit more going on in the cruiserweight division. It's a bit of a different feel with our affiliate program back and rolling between West Virginia, South Carolina, and the Mid Atlantic region, and of course all over the world, including Europe now. The AIWF is back in business on a global in a global sense, and that makes me wonder. I mean, you lost the cruiserweight title to the former champion Cobra King about a year ago, and now that you have the Mid Atlantic Championship, if the new champion comes into town, well, guess what? You get to have right of first refusal. It has to be something that's crossed your mind already. I know it's only been a week.
Well, eventually, I will have to eventually cross paths once again with Axton Ray. He is the former champion, so we all know he's still the number one contender. He's still going to be in contention for that championship. And, yes, he is owed a rematch. But, Scott, I don't know if you saw, after what I did to his leg at Deal with the Steel, I don't think we're going to be seeing Axton Ray for a long, long time.
Seems like you tried to finish what Ty Tyson started last year when they were feuding all over the region. Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about him and Ty's feud. I just know I did what I had to do this past Saturday to become a two-time AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion. And, yeah, maybe in a way, maybe I do feel a little upset, and maybe I am a little guilty because of the way I did what I did to Axton. But, who wouldn't do that in my situation? Scott Eiland, you know good and well, if you had the opportunity to win a championship, to put more money in your pocket, you would do whatever you had to do to provide for your family, to pay your bills. You know good and well, if you had to take out your arch nemesis to get an extra payout, you would do it. And don't say you wouldn't, because I've seen you do stuff at AIWF to get extra payouts. I've seen you take jobs away from certain guys. I've seen you interview certain names just to get that extra money. So you and I both know, Scott, when money talks, you know what?
Well, okay. I'm not going to tell you that you're lying. Obviously, I'm well known as an opportunist, and so I don't mind that characterization. I'm just trying to make sure that the entire story gets told. As far as, let's talk. I wanted to ask you about Timmy Lou Redden. Obviously, he is in all of independent wrestling, people are talking about him. The day after Deal with the Steel, he went toe-to-toe with none other than Al Snow and Head in a match in West Virginia. What was it like being in the ring with a rookie who had so much light on him right now?
To be quite honest with you, Timmy Lou Redden, he's come along. He is really, he's really come a long way in these past 2 years. He's only been wrestling for 2 years. I don't even know if you know that. And the guy has gotten so many huge opportunities in these 2 years. I mean, he's getting opportunities that I didn't even come close to when I first started out. I mean, he's wrestling guys like, Al Snow, and he's in the ring with guys like, Jimmy Jack Funk, and he's in cage matches, and he's in all these different type matches, traveling all over the place, making a name for himself, just like I used to when I first got this business. And to be quite honest with you, he's not doing nothing that nobody's never done who is just starting out in this business. He is doing exactly what you have to do to make it to the top. You're challenging the big names. You're challenging those guys who have a reputation. You're challenging for those big championships because you want to be noticed just like everybody else is. Everybody's goal is to one day be on one of the top mainstream programs in the world. We all know WWE is everybody's top priority. Ring of Honor is everybody's top priority. You got New Japan, Pro Wrestling. We got Jeff Jarrett's promotion, Global Force with TNA now. So there's a lot of open doors out there that are looking for young, hungry talent. And Kimberly Red, I'll be honest, he is very hungry. He wants to make it big, and he's not going to stop until he has a contract in his hand for one of these major companies out here.
Well, I got to tell you, James, I mean, it was good to see you back in the ring fighting for AIWF Gold again. What is going to be different this time?
Well, it seems like, like always in an AIWF affiliated championship, you got all these guys coming out the woodwork, wanting to challenge me, wanting to make a name off of me, just to throw a couple of names out there. The second title Saturday, the next day I look on the internet, on the dirt sheet, and Tracer X challenges me off gate. He wants a championship match. I accepted his challenge. I'll be facing him September 12th in Forest City, North Carolina. And then after that, you have somebody like Jaden Newman, who also challenged me for a match, August 29th in Red Bank, Tennessee. I mean, you got all these guys that have been so quiet and they've been off the radar for the past couple of months, for the past year, and all of a sudden when I get a belt, everybody wants to challenge me. Now, that does make me feel good. That makes me realize and know that I'm doing my job and you have all these different guys wanting to come challenge you. But my thing is this, why does everybody want to make a name off of James Anthony? Why does everybody feel like they can beat me? What does everybody feel like they're going to accomplish if they beat me? That's what I want to know. Maybe can you answer that for me, Scott? What are these guys going to accomplish beating James Anthony? You tell me. What do you think they're going to do?
That's a good question. That's a great question because the way I see it, I'm just looking at this from a long view. How did Axton Ray get noticed? He basically wrestled. He wrestled Justin Flash when Flash held the World Championship a little bit over a year ago, and he did it in front of the biggest audience, one of the bigger audiences of the year, and he basically just blew everybody away with his athleticism and his abilities at such a young age. What did James Anthony do? He came onto the ring and just basically slashed neck. When you came into the AIWF 2013, you just basically didn't care who was in the ring, whether it was Phil Stamper on one side or somebody as beloved as Court Montgomery on the other, and you said you were going to basically beat the primordial tar out of anybody, in spite of the fact that you're usually the smaller man in the ring every time. And that's what everybody was blown away by, that you would be able to chop down these bigger trees and win matches. So the question is now that you've got more experience, nobody's going to be surprised. Nobody's going to you're not going to sneak up on anybody. And now everybody seems to relish the idea of getting in the ring with you, whether it be any of the guys in South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, all over the region. They're looking at making a name for themselves too. Maybe it's the fact that now that you've been around for a while, you've made a name for yourself. Maybe it's because James Anthony is always in the top rankings in the internet polls for the Independent Wrestler of the Year, Independent Wrestler of the Month. Basically, because you get booked so many places, they know you, and they find out you win a title. You know that you will go all over creation to defend it. So perhaps that might be it. They know that you will take on, and maybe they're hoping it gets you on a bad night. What do you think of that?
Well, I will be honest with you. It does make me feel good to know that these guys want to wrestle me. It makes me feel good to know that these guys want to step in the ring with me. But here's my thing. Once I beat you, and I will beat both Jaden and Tracer in the upcoming week, once I beat them, my thing is this. What's going to happen to them? They're going to go right back to doing what they've been doing, being quiet. They're going to go back to being the same guy that they were before we stepped into the ring. They're going to go right back to their normal regular shows with their hair all disappointed and their heads tucked between their legs, all upset because they underestimated getting in the ring with me. I'm telling you, it's not the, you just said it. I'm not the same guy that I was 3 years ago when I first got to the AIWF. I mean, let's look at my track record over the past couple of years. Two-time AIWF World Cruiserweight Champion, two-time AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion. Let's throw it out there. 2 months ago, I went and tried out for the Ring of Honor roster. I went out there and I did what I never thought would be possible, and that was try out to get a spot on the Ring of Honor roster. And I made quite the impression out there. I impressed everybody out there. Now, do I need to work on a couple of things before getting signed? Of course. But is that stopping me from going on the road with Ring of Honor, doing some behind-the-scenes stuff, doing some little small things to keep my face out there in the company? No, it's not going to stop me because I want these guys to see, I want Hunter to know that I want to be a part of the Ring of Honor roster sometime in the near future. I've hooked up with Victor Andrews, my year-long rival of 2013, going into 2014. My year-long rival, now my tag team partner. We have held 2 different tag team championships, and 3 times we've become the PWF tag team title. And Steve Carino runs the PWF, the Premier Wrestling Federation, and he also has a job with Ring of Honor. So, of course, we're sticking around there. Of course, we're keeping our faces seen in that area because we're letting everybody know that we're not the same guys that we were. I'm not the same guy I was. I'm more physical. I'm more aggressive. I'm more out there. I'm traveling on all kind of shows. I'm booked somewhere every single weekend, every month. I never get a weekend off. My family, my girlfriend, everybody's always wanting to spend time with me, but they know wrestling comes first. Yes, it's gotten me in a lot of trouble these past several months for not spending time with family, for not spending time with my girlfriend. I've missed nephews' birthdays. I missed my niece's birthdays, mom and dad's birthdays. I've missed family functions. Why? Because wrestling is my life, and this is what I love to do. Nothing can and ever will take the place of professional wrestling in my heart. This is what I love to do. And I'm going to continue to go out there and do whatever I have to do each and every week, each and every month, each and every year until I myself have a contract in my hands.
Well, James, obviously nobody is going to ever doubt your drive or your motivation or your passion for wrestling. I want to thank you for being on AIWF Worldwide here this week, Episode 3. Be sure to follow James Anthony on Twitter. What's your handle, James? I just see your name and I retweet stuff. But what is your handle?
My Twitter name is 87 James Anthony. You can find me also on Facebook at James Anthony. My fan page also James Anthony. On Instagram at 1987 Jam. You can also catch my YouTube channel. It also features all my matches of the week or show that I've done. That's also known as Voodoo KM21. You can go back and look at matches. You can actually go back and see me win the AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight title for the first time back in 2013.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah. You were there, Scott Eiland. You remember that one.
I was
that's when I was with, that's when I was hooked up with Lady Marion McPlayer. You can go and look at my matches with my son, Mr. Andrews feud. I tag teaming recently, some promos, and you won't be disappointed if you go to my YouTube channel. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's a lot of matches I'm proud of on there. Not gonna lie, there's some matches on my YouTube channel that I'm not proud of, but go check it out for yourself. Tell me what you think. Continue to support independent wrestling. If there's any promoters out there listening, you want to bring me into your shows, shoot me a quick email at jamesnwo2002@yahoo.com, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter.
All right, man. I think you basically ran the gamut. You've got it covered. All the social sites. James Anthony, you are marketing yourself, and congratulations on once again on winning the AIWF Mid Atlantic Cruiserweight Championship. As they say in the business, now's when it gets difficult, when you've got a bullseye on your back. So I guess the best thing I can say is best of luck, my friend.
Thank you about that, Scott Eiland, and I'm looking forward to you calling some more matches up here in the next couple of months, my man.
Yes, sir. September 19th, the Mount Airy National Guard Armory is the next show. So for those of you who are keeping track, September 19th, Live Pro Wrestling returns. We will have an updated condition of Ty Tyson. The Virginia champion will be defending the belt in North Carolina again because he's a convict, Ruffy Shank. We'll learn more about Jody Osborne's new attitude, and perhaps he's indicating there are surprises afoot there. I hope it doesn't involve his right hand in my face. Also, you'll see Action Ray, Kevin Phoenix, and, of course, James Anthony. So that's September 19th at the Mount Airy National Guard Armory. We find out what happened after Deal with the Steel, and of course, you have 6 or 7 matches of the best indie talent in the region. So that'll pretty much do it for this week's edition of AIWF Worldwide, the podcast. I'm Scott Eiland. Be sure to follow us on at AIWFMidAtlantic.com or AIWF.net. If you are a promoter who is looking to possibly join one of the fastest-growing sanctioning bodies in the world, hook up with Matt Classic on Facebook or send us a message on AIWF.net. And then if you want to follow us, you're going to like both promotions on Facebook. We have Twitter. All of that stuff is going to be listed in the show notes. I'm Scott Eiland on Twitter. That's EILAND. I'm the voice of the AIWF Mid Atlantic. I want to thank you all for joining us. Next week, TR Superstar will be joining us, and he will explain his actions at Deal with the Steel, among other things. We've got a lot going down the line, so be sure to be subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. You can also follow us and find us on the YouTube page as well, and also on AIWFMidAtlantic.com. But until then, for James Anthony and all of us here at the AIWF, I'm Scott Eiland signing off for now. Thank you for listening, and good night.